Gather round, children, for I have a story to tell you. This story is a tale of pain, suffering, and if you hadn't read the title, Bad Times at Casa de Henson. Throw in the dramatic intro.
Generals gathered in their
The
messes.
masses just like witches, and the masses is the
Just
minds.
like witches at black masses, evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of deconstruction in the field.
Fields, the bodies burning, as the war mission keeps turning death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds, O Lord. Now in darkness, world stops turning ashes, with their bodies burning no. No more war pigs have the power hand, blood has struck the heart.
Day of judgment. God is calling on their knees. The war pigs
crawling, begging mercy for their sins. Satan laughing, spreads his wings, O Lord. Yeah.
This story has many dark twists and turns. So, let's start at the beginning.
Chapter 1, Elbow Deep.
We have little Robin, Kermit's so-called nephew. Well, as it turns out, he is Kermit's older brother. Turns out Henson wanted to keep him young, and it completely messed him up. Robin turned to alcohol to deal with his problems, but due to a lack of ID, and the fact everybody thought he was a child, meant he could never get served. Robin did try to get sober, but he just couldn't get past the first step. Little Legs couldn't reach the next one. That's why he released that song.
Chapter to the wrist within me.
Now that we've had a look at the beginning, it's time to start another beginning. What happened to Kermit? Where did Jim put his hand? And why oh why did they make him go whoopee with a pig?
Having grown up on the mean streets of New Orleans, I spent my days running 3-card Monte tricks. I was always hustling people, then he came and offered me a more lit way to make money. Jim was nice at first, but like Alderman, they brought you with a smile. He asked me to get in his van. At first I thought it was a banjo, but then I saw the Vaseline and the cow glow.
Oh God.
There was no God that day or any of the others after that.
So I'm curious about the pig situation.
I don't want to talk about the things they made us do on camera.
Wait, they filmed it?
If you like to use his camera, just ask poor Gonzo. He's being dog now. He thinks he's a chicken.
Chapter 3, Chickens Like to Party.
West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground, was where I spent most of my day snorting up far, selling the dope, you could have said. I was running out of rope when a couple of guys who were up to no good started selling kids in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight, and my mom got scared. She said, "You're moving with Jim Henson before his show airs." And that's when I really started hitting the powder. Rolf tried to help me get clean, but Jim wouldn't have any of that.
There is more to this interview, but it was only about his new rap album.
Chapter for that some fine pig.
And now we're going to look at Miss Piggy. Not a lot of people know this, but she started out as a professional wrestler. She was so big and strong that she was fighting the men in no time. Eventually she moved into adult entertainment. It was a She-Hulk parody, don't Google it. Once she got into this, Jim sunk his claws into her. From that point on, she was forced into a violent sexual relationship with a frog. She was fixated on Kermit, mostly because it meant she didn't have to deal with the real world. But for her, it was an escape that she couldn't resist. She did eventually get clean and was teaching English in Japan. But when she returned to America, a documentary crew brought back all of those painful memories. And sadly, she OD'd.
Chapter 5, P4Z.
Of course, there were some of the Muppets that weren't abused by this corruption, because they were the corruption. That's right, Fozzie Bear. He was selling Wacka Wacka to all of them. Fozzie, who you could say was the main perpetrator of most of the problem. He originally started out as a pusher man for Jim, but one day, NBC executives asked why he was there. In order to save his career, Jim said he was a new act, and from then on, the dodgy comedian began his career.
That rat bastard was in on everything you asked me. He's the one that cut off Rolf's balls.
Turns out Fozzie had a thing for internet. Believed that many of his illegitimate children were raised by animals. He was a very strict Roman Catholic and volunteered at the local orphanage.
Chapter 6: The Devil Himself.
And finally, we get to the darkness in the heart of all childhood television. The creator. Originally, he started off as a Vietnam War veteran. This is where he got the idea of entertaining children. Something which he enjoyed a lot in between burning down villages and visiting the ladies of the night. With his hobbies during the war being over, he decided he was going to do something similar in America. It was his ideal playground. He entertains the kids on screen and entertains himself off the screen. This monster found a twisted mix of money and power which lasted for decades, until he showed his true colours with the Dark Crystal. F*** that. The Dark Crystal caused many problems with fans. That and the fact they were only creating films rather than TV shows. Eventually they just couldn't hide the dark secrets anymore. You could say that they literally exposed themselves to public.
Chapter 7: Moving On.
Jim Henson died on the 16th of May 1990. For many adoring fans it was too soon, and for others not soon enough. All we really know is that some of the survivors can finally move on. But not everybody escaped justice, as Fozzie Bear now awaits execution in a Siberian prison on charges of uranium smuggling.
Listen, my connections can't get you anything. Ritualman, Hex Frog Hybrid Super Salt. Turksis, try yourself, you man.
This video doesn't have a horribly sad ending, as a few of the Muppets, Kermit, Animal, Rolf, and the weird shrimp guy all teamed up together to make their own group. They did the opening act for Cannibal Corpse. Thank you for watching. Now if you don't mind, I have to get back to my novel. Curious George. George visits Hitler.